hear nothing.
Hey baby, how you doing? You the first one in the room. As usual. How's it going? This one ain't gonna be long tonight. Trust me, I'm not feeling all that wonderful. I just wait for folks to show up. Hooey. Hi Lily. How are you, sweetheart? Good to see you. You are second in line. Ooh, it is hot up in here. Hey Camille. How are you, sweetie? Is it hot in your neck of the woods? Man, it's hot over here. It's the sun ain't even hardly out, but it's just muggy. I can't do muggy. Oh, he is? Oh boy. Is he going live tonight, Lily? Or is that gonna be tomorrow night? Probably tomorrow night. He usually goes live on Friday nights. Okay. That should be interesting. Yep. I'm not sure I'll be watching, but I might. I might just see what he's talking about. Hey, Fonda, what's up? Hey, Daphne, how y'all doing? Everybody coming on in the room. Hello, Letha. How's it going? I hope you're fine. Been trying to deal with this heat. Oh, he went live for an hour. Okay. Well, I missed it. I'll check it out later. Daphne. What's been happening, Daphne? Yeah, Camille, I kind of have to agree with you on this one. This one is, I'm doing good, Letha. I'm doing good. But Camille, I have to agree with you on that one. This one is a little bit too much, way too much. It really it hits home for me too much. Hi, Melinda. How are you, sweetie? Yeah, some things can be overdone, and you got to be careful in dealing with stuff like that. You know what I mean? It might be interesting, it might even be entertaining, but is it appropriate? I don't know. 100-degree weather, child, listen. It feels 100 here, but it's not. It's just muggy, that kind of sticky, yucky thing. Yeah, Lily, it is dangerous. It can really cause damage in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be cognizant of the people that you're talking about. I mean, in this particular case, going after that man's wife, and oh God, I just couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. She just lost her husband. Now people are saying she's involved. Leave it up to the authorities. You know what I'm saying? Some things should be left up to the authorities. I know sometimes the po don't do their job the way they should, but he is a celebrity. And I will say that, even though this happened in Costa Rica, I don't know how they handle things over there. But for the most part, to just dive in like that with accusations is not cool. Yeah, yeah, Fonda. Here we go again. And after a while, you can't look at stuff like this as entertainment. It's not. People's lives are involved. This is more than just a YouTube paycheck, you know. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Let me just say that. But I'm just saying, coming from my standpoint, this hits too close to home for me. Malcolm's wife and mother tell him about himself. He will have brought it on himself for sticking his nose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You said a mouthful. You don't want to have to deal with these sisters when it comes to their loved one. I could understand to a certain degree Angie Stone. I could understand that because of the circumstances surrounding her life prior to what happened to her when she came out with that live saying that her money was missing, her money was stolen. I mean, that's the start of a movie of the week. If you know what I'm saying, it's the beginning of something bigger, or could potentially be something bigger. But this is just, from all intents and purposes, this was a vacation, you know, and an accident happened, and unless something more nefarious was going on prior to that, that's all you can come up with. There's no reason to think that, that anything was going on with him. Hey, Benjamin Padilla, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long. I was just talking about you to Jess the other day. I was like, where is Benjamin? It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Good to see you. So good to see you. Welcome back. But yeah, just, getting back to this other topic with regard to Malcolm and even Angie, the two cases are totally different. I don't see where anything could come out of the Malcolm situation, if you know what I'm saying, other than it being a devastating accident. I mean, the waters in Costa Rica are notorious for having major undercurrents, and the best of swimmers can get caught up and lose their lives, you know. But all this stuff, oh, she wasn't there, or she wasn't with them, or the baby was there and then the baby wasn't there. All that stuff is like, uh-uh, he's gone. Hey, Millionaires Cove, how you doing, my love? Good to see you, sweetheart. I've been missing y'all. I don't know, it just seems like things are kind of slowing down a little bit, which is a good thing. And I'm slowing down too, but I still need to be consistent. I'm trying to stay consistent and trying to bring good content. I don't want to have to talk about Maggie every single day. That's a lost cause right there. But every now and then I'll still go in. I ain't too proud to do that. So, she can stay in her side of the world and I'll stay on mine. But she better leave me alone. That's all I know. But yeah, I'm just, I'm torn. I'm really torn. I won't even say torn. I'm disappointed in how Malcolm Jamal Warner's death has caused such a negative ruckus on YouTube. That's right. Stay in that one lane of hers. That one lane. That one lonely lane. Shoot. Man, oh man. I'm giving more people time to come in the room. And I've noticed that the numbers and stuff have gone down. And that's fine, because I'm cool with a small group of dedicated people than I am with a large group of people that are here to carry a bone. Benjamin says, thank you. Yes, I'm around and missed all you guys too. As for Malcolm, frankly, it's a bit tiring to think everything is a conspiracy. Wouldn't logic lead one to conclude there is easier ways? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Fonda. It was a bit daunting. It was a bit daunting. Hi, namaste. Yeah, taking one out is everything. You're right, Whiskey. Everything is not a conspiracy. Everything is not a conspiracy. And I know you guys already know where I'm coming from with this. You know, the way that young man died is the same way my son passed, and very similar circumstances as well. And I would hate to be, if you know, I can only imagine if I was some kind of celebrity and something happened to my son and all of a sudden I'm being accused of being a part of it or something like that. I'm grieving my child. Are you crazy? And here this woman is, she's grieving her husband. That little girl is grieving her daddy. It's very, very insensitive, especially this early in the game. You know what I mean? So, but hey, people do what they got to do. People do what they got to do to make their living. And, you know, ain't nothing I can say about it, nothing I can do about it. You know, Millionaire's Cove says, Faith, it was, but I was really hoping they would have solved it. I think everyone stopped too soon on their case. Well, but you know what, Millionaire's Cove? There's only, you can only go so far. You know, there's other people that are involved that are not going to allow their information out there. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, it's one thing to have access to names and stuff like that, but you got to tread lightly when, number one, if you're not law enforcement, don't play, you know, because it can get real. It could get real. And this is something that could potentially take time to solve. You know what I'm saying? Hi, let's go slots. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go cold for her family because Diamond was very, very adamant in saying that this is an ongoing investigation. I mean, sometimes it could take a year or two just to get down to the bottom of things like that. And we have to be patient. Hello, Benjamin. Hello. Benjamin actually hit the nail on the head right there. Right there. Hello, Lawanda. Glad to see you back, sweetheart. Glad to see you back home. Yeah, you know, life is too short. Everything ain't about money. You know, you got to take other things into consideration. You know, we're just a piece in a larger pond, if you will. Yeah, absolutely, Benjamin. Me too. Me too. It got crazy. It got crazy for me as well. And I went as far as I could go. You know, I think I made my points about a lot of things, even after Quiet Storm went his way, you know, and I went mine. Once we parted ways, people thought I wasn't going to deal with Angie Stone anymore. No, I got in this for a reason because I felt that something needed to be found out. But what I wanted to point out was the lack of police integrity down south. I've always had a problem with down south racism, how they treat certain demographics one way as opposed to the other. And this took place in Alabama. Let's be real about it. So, sometimes the police they don't take some things more serious than others because of the color of someone's skin. You know, Unfortunately, we live in a country where racism still exists and it's in high places. Let's not forget that. People with authority and have a racist bone in their body, chances are they're not going to do their job to the best of their ability for those that they despise. Where is Dawn Beard? She isn't here yet, honey. She's not here yet. I think she was here yesterday. She was here yesterday. I hope Diamond is okay. Have you heard from her? Even briefly, please tell her your audience wishes her well. Yeah, I haven't spoken with Diamond since the split between me and Quiet Storm. Um, I did call her one time immediately after that, and she understood where I was coming from, and we left it at that. I mean, we're not friends or anything like that, but from woman to woman, I had to call her and let her know where I was coming from. So the South is the pits. I'm a northern girl, but hubby loves it here. So much racist things happen here. I know. What part of the South are you in, Millionaire's Code? Are you in Texas? Are you in South Carolina? Atlanta. Okay. Oh yeah, down there in good old Georgia. Good old Georgia. But you would think with as many black folks down in Atlanta, it wouldn't be so bad, but it's still bad. It's still bad. Your YouTube rose has bloomed into a flower garden since the royal split. I love it. Oh my goodness. Now I like that. Thank you so much, Fonda. Only you, only you could come up with something so beautiful out of something that was so ugly. Oh God, yes, it's a republic state, so you already know how that is. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you guys ever get a chance, now I know I wasn't raised in the South, but I was raised by Southern folk. You know what I'm saying? So being raised by Southern people, sometimes you tend to be in that Southern mindset. So if you ever go into my playlist later on down the line and you find my book, there's a saying in there that was actually something my grandmother told me years and years and years and years ago. And she was strolling me down the street of Seattle. And here she was, this 4'10", 4'11" black woman, bow-legged and round and chocolate. Hi, Nadine. How are you, sweetie? And here she is walking down the street with this little blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby in the carriage, the stroller, whatever they called it back then. And this old, she used to call him this old cracker. And my mama loved the Lord, but there was just sometimes she had a way of cutting somebody with her words. Didn't have to cuss not one time. But she said, this old cracker walked up and said, where'd you get that little white baby from? That told me right then and there just how real racism is across the board in America. Let's Go Slot says, I always wanted to move to Atlanta. I visited back in the late 90s. I loved it, but now I don't think so. I've been to Atlanta one time. We were there for about 3 or 4 days, and I enjoyed myself. I really did, but we didn't get out and about like that. Hi, down south, Stitcher. How are you, sweetie? Waving hands back to you. Waving hands back to you. I'm going to fix this camera in a second. I got to be discreet. So sometimes my camera's not working because it's being weird. Hey, really dope. How are you, sugar? So yes, ain't that the truth? Let's Go Slots. I stay north. But they got a little bit of that racism dabbled all up into these, in all 50 states. There's some form of racism somewhere. You know, some places have a different way of hiding it than others. One thing I will say about the South, at least you know who don't like you. At least you really know who don't like you. They don't bite their tongue down there. Up here, that's another story. Was that song by the OJs, Backstabbers? Man, I done had many a problem on a job behind a backstabber because they were racist. My grandparents told me, don't you tell nobody you got black babies. Don't you tell nobody your daddy's black. Don't you tell none of them white folks this, that, and the third. And I'm like, what? Are you telling me to be ashamed of myself? Are you telling me to be ashamed of you? I don't think so. So I guess that made me a rebel, because I'm not going to be ashamed for nothing God made. Not when it come to me, at least. But you got folks that hate, that don't know what they hating about, just because they were taught to hate. Point blank, period. Uh-oh, I'm dropping stuff. Sorry about the noise. So anyway, but yeah, I hope that this doesn't blow up into something crazy. Yeah, namaste. You're right about that. Those were their times, not today though. Hey Barbara, how are you, sweetie? Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. Get comfortable. We're gonna talk a little bit about Ray J. I'm sure a lot of you know who Ray J is, and I'm not really dwelling too much on Ray J individually. It's just that there's some things that have come to light. He's come out to dispel some rumors, so to speak. Um, I'm not so much concerned about the rumors so much as, Ray J has gone through some stuff in life. He's gone through some stuff in life. Um, Personally, I think that there's some that frivolous character. I think that this has come his behavior is a combination of things, and this is just my own opinion. I'm not a professional or none of that, but I done seen some things in life. And this young man grew up in the shadow of his sister. There's part of the problem right there. Hi, Eye of Crystal. Hello, love. He's come up in a time where he couldn't even share the limelight. His sister was so spectacular in her talent. Yes, Barbara, we just heard. We were just talking about that too. I got mixed feelings about that whole thing. without going over it again, I'm not too excited about that particular case because I honestly personally believe that that was just a devastating accident, and there's no storyline you can create for me to make me believe otherwise. And it's just, I just feel like it's very unfair to his family, to his wife especially, whatever's going on. So, you know, hi Marza. Oh, thank you, Marcella. Thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. God bless you, sweetie. Marzella be supporting the channel. I love it. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's really a blessing to have people in your life that just take the time out to show that they care. And Marzella, you definitely show that. Marzella don't say much, but she come through in a clutch. Yes, she is definitely very supportive. I appreciate it. I appreciate all y'all. Honestly, every way that y'all support me, I appreciate it. For real, for real. Yes, thank you, Marzella. But getting back to Malcolm Jamal Warner and his death, I just think it's a bit, I don't know. I just feel weird about it. And I think part of the reason is because that's how my son died. And I would hate to be in his wife's shoes or his mother's shoes to be scrutinized in that manner. You know, they're trying to grieve this man's death. That little girl lost her daddy, and those women have to support that little girl. And to be blindsided with accusations, not understanding why, let alone where they're coming from. You know, people can pick things apart left and right, but it don't make it real. It don't make it true. It just makes it entertainment. And that's where I draw the line with that. You can't use people's lives as entertainment. Now, Angie Stone, that was a different set of circumstances. Very, very different set of circumstances. Money's involved, people are lying, people are cheating. That's another story. But all this other stuff. Hey, Dawn. How are you, sweetie? Who was asking for Dawn? Was it Lawanda? I think it was Lawanda that was asking about you, sweetheart. Here she is, Lawanda. Let me turn this camera on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm glad to see you're good. Absolutely, Lawanda. I dig it. I can dig it. I can dig it. So, again, I try to steer clear of the popular topics because those popular topics can sometimes become bigger than life. And it's not necessarily true. Exactly, Fonda. You are so right. There we go. There we go. Y'all know why I turn off that camera sometimes. Sometimes the camera don't want to act right in the first place, but I turn it off when I'm doing something that's against YouTube guidelines. Oh my goodness! Pardon my appearance. I am sweating like a pig. Oink oink. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Ray J today because I saw, you know what? I forgot my iPad. 101 degrees today in Texas. Ooh wee. You putty auntie. Thank you. Hold on just a second. Let me go grab my iPad. I have some audio on there I wanted to play for you guys, and I forgot it. It's in my room. I gotta go get it. Okay, folks, I'm back. So, what I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, about Ray J. Uh, he did an interview with Cam Newton. Very interesting interview. And for those of you who have watched any of Ray J, Ray J. I've seen Ray J since he was a little boy, coming up in the shadows of his sister. Excuse me. And we all know how talented Brandy was, and I think he suffers a little bit of jealousy. I honestly believe that. And he's just trying he's always been one trying to find himself, you know what I'm saying? And in doing so, he's gone off into a different kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Getting on these, oh my goodness. We ain't even gonna go into that tape that he made with Kim Kardashian. I don't know what kind of scream for help that was, but it is what it is. But some of the things that he does is it screams, look at me, look at me, look at me. And when people aren't really looking, he does something else just as out there. Validation, exactly. Looking for validation. But one topic came up in this interview that I've always looked at him side-eyed about. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Whitney Houston. We all remember, those of us that are old enough. Yes, Holly. Ray J tries, okay. Ray J tries to play the crazy card, but I don't think he's crazy. I think it's all a put on. I don't know, Holly. It could be either way. If he isn't crazy, he's playing a good role of it. He's doing a good job of it. He needs to be acting somewhere. For real, for real. Instead of acting a fool, get in a movie. Hook up with somebody. He's a good businessman. He's got a good mindset for business. But just some of his shenanigans just overshadow his full potential. But I heard some very interesting audio on this Cam Newton uh, interview. Yeah, it's worse than Angie's with so many different stories. Yeah, there's just so many. There's so much going on with Ray J, and now that, of course, we all have heard that substance abuse is involved and things of that nature. There's been a lot of talk about his involvement with Whitney's death and all that stuff, and he went on that show to clarify some things, but in the process, I think he added more questions than answers. I spoke to Diamond. She is just dealing with everything day to day. Oh, you spoke with her, Barbara. How is she doing, love? Is she doing okay? Wow. I'm glad you got a chance to talk to her. Absolutely, Fonda. Absolutely. And he even said in some of this audio that I caught that he was ADHD. But ADHD don't make you do some of the things that he does, you know. So I just he's playing with fire. Yeah. His family's also been concerned. He gave an indication that he and Brandy, he said that he's no longer a brother. And when Cam Newton asked him about that, what do you mean you're no longer a brother? Because he said, I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm not a brother. That caused him to look at him. What are you talking about? Your sister is Brandy. And he just kind of alluded to the fact that him and Brandy ain't that cool no more. So clearly there's something going on between the two of them, you know. And it's sad because in our families, especially a family that closely knit in the past, it's sad to see that the two children are at odds, as adults. And Ray J's out there doing the most, you know. He's been out there doing the most. But I'm going to share some things with you. Yes, yes, burning himself out quickly, very, very quickly. It's nothing to play with. Mental health is nothing to play with. Yes, Rose, tormented, tormented. You can carry a load of guilt with you just so long, and it will eat you alive inside. There's so many things about Whitney's demise that we've all had questions about, regardless of what the news reported. They just wrote it off like it was an accident, or that it was as a result of what was in her system, kind of stuff. We know what they said was in her system and stuff. I'm not buying it. Maybe because the parents pushed Brandy's career harder and not his. It's maybe favoritism also. Who knows? That's possible. But when it comes down to talent, millionaire, sometimes you can't give somebody talent they don't have. Brandy was talented. She didn't have to go out and prove herself. Hi, Catherine. How are you, sweetheart? Benjamin says, personally, I believe he knows exactly what happened to Whitney. That's simply my humble opinion. I very much sense that, and if he has a conscience, it's catching up. He knows quite a bit. I agree, Benjamin. I agree with you. I really do. Because he has deteriorated quite a bit since her passing. Now, I'm going to play something for you. And that means I'm going to turn my camera off again because I want you guys to be able to hear this. Did anybody out there hear or watch the interview with Cam Newton that recently aired on YouTube? Put a 1 in the chat if you got a chance to watch that interview. It was quite an extensive interview, and I didn't catch the entire thing, but I caught some very key pieces that made my eyes, huh? you know, okay, not yet. There's a 1 and a yes. Okay, there's another one. 3 people so far. So what I wanted to cover here, yeah, with them kids around him, and we ain't even gonna discuss that audio that came out when the baby's mama called the police, or was it the kids? Somebody called the police because mommy and daddy were having an argument, or having a fight or something, and how he was trying to, you know, fix the narrative with the kids. That was crazy to me. And it was all recorded. That was really, really nuts to me. So, let me cut this off for a second. And I'm going to find this audio. This was an interview with Suge Knight on The Art of Dialogue several years ago. And one thing I say about Suge Knight, he's already locked up. What has he got to lose? Suge Knight ain't got nothing to lose. He's in jail. Let's be real. And he knows some things, you know. But what he had to say in this statement was very telling. Holly says, well, his baby's mama was definitely the wrong person for him because she is extremely hot-headed. Exactly. Very hot-headed. And he's confused. He's very confused. He's very, like, depressed. He says he's suffering with ADHD. He's been tagged with that as well. So in this business, all it's going to do is add to the fray of what he's already dealing with. But when you've been around certain people for years and years and years, if you don't want your business out there, you better make sure you're doing the right thing around the right people. Yes, they did stay in their marriage. Hello, Donna McClinton. Hi, sweetie. So hold on just a second. Ain't nothing like a mad black woman. Ain't that the truth? I'm going to pull up this first interview. This is Suge Knight on The Art of Dialogue. Hold on just a second.
Ray J, I don't want to be the one to push you over the edge and make you commit suicide or something. I'd be lying if I say your life don't mean nothing to me, because it do. Been knowing you since you was a little bitty boy. But Ray J, you was born in 81. You said Tupac came to your 21st birthday. How is that if you born in 81 and your 21st birthday had to be around 2002 or somewhere along those lines?
Okay. I know that's very, very early on in this interview. Holly says, hey, don't judge me, but I've always had a crush on Suge. That's a big boy. That's a big boy there. Holly. But Suge made it he made a very valid point, busted him wide open. Ray J said that Tupac, see, that's why you got to be careful what you're saying if you're lying. He said that Tupac came to his 21st birthday party. Ray J was born in 1981. That would put him at the exact age as my oldest son, who is now 44. And when did Tupac die? Come on, man. He wasn't 21. Got to keep your lies straight. Man, he came out swinging with that one. Suge don't play, do he? Now, he said a whole lot of other stuff in another interview. 95 or 96, yes. Can you believe telling folk that Tupac came to your 21st birthday party and you ain't got sense enough to know you didn't turn 21 until the 2000s. Here, let me start this back.
Pac passed away and went to heaven in 96.
96.
Where you going with this? Another thing, Ray J. You posted a thing up there when you came to visit me in prison and they didn't let you in because whatever y'all were doing in the car, and to do a book deal. All the phone calls recorded. Just a book deal. That's all you wanted to do. So I agreed to do that. The lawyer left out with the paperwork. I'm quite sure the paperwork you posted. At the same time, you and another gentleman were doing some activities in the car. That's why you weren't allowed to come in. Because he came to talk to me, he was going to go back and get you. They said, y'all was on some weirdo shit. And I ain't going to put that out there, but you know what it is. And you know what they said it is.
Now, Ray J seems to believe, or wants us to believe, that he didn't get involved with illegal substances. I always trip over that. Ray J says that he did not do illegal substances until after Whitney passed. And I failed to realize that to be true. That's not really, I don't think that was going on. Barbara Weaver says he didn't have water in his lungs that would come from drowning. The medical examiner said he would have had to be deceased before the ocean. His mom is doing her own investigation and autopsy. Well, I'll talk about that later. Because, yeah, I'll talk about that later. This is about Ray J, so I'm not going to go off into that. But I will say my son passed the same way. And nobody deleted him. Hi, Lady of Elegance. How is it going, hon? You're okay, you're fine. Okay, let me get back to this.
But at the same time, I got the proof to show you. Time they got out of jail, because that was a whole nother lie you lied on everybody about, you signed it right back over. But you go on these shows and you go on these live things and you try to interfere with my family got going on. But I'm going to show you how grown people do it. Glory going to sue you for $200 million for lying. Also, Lil Ray, you need prayer, little homie. Everybody should be praying for you. They should double down to make sure you do like mandatory drug testing every day. Because meth only stay in your system for, I guess, 2 days. That's what I heard. Every day. That princess took the wheel. That'll drive you back to safety. You got a gangster in that bitch. Also, everybody speak on Left Eye, Tupac, who's definitely not here to defend themselves and be their voice. Left Eye's the homegirl, Lisa, Nina, as we call her. Really close to me.
That's another thing that Ray J does. He speaks on the dead, those of which cannot defend themselves. So, how do you do that? How do you speak on someone that cannot defend themselves or give their side of the story? But he has a tendency to do that. These are people that cannot rebut him. So, we got to take his word for it? I don't think so. So, hold on. That part, Mooney.
Really a great person. Everybody talking about death row situations, left eye situations. These are things that people talk about that never been in their presence. I've never met them. I was not there. You ran across a few things, Ray J, because the motherfucker treated you with respect and brung you around. It's not for no clown shit. I'm starting to want it now. Same circus, different clowns. It's not too late. People should do stories about their own life, not my life. I'm quite sure it's some interesting things that you guys put together and tell your story. It's for me to tell my motherfucking story. When it comes to the part where you talk about left eye had a problem with it, he died because of me, that's a lie. Let's talk about some facts. Whitney Houston, it's on your hands. I remember the conversation when she thought her life was in the toilet.
Now y'all heard what Suge said. Suge said Whitney Houston is on your hands. Whitney Houston was on your hands. Now Ray J wants us to believe and has reported that he was nowhere near that hotel when she passed away. Hello, Lady Letitia. I'm sorry you snuck in there. I didn't see you. Hi, sweetheart. How's it going? Welcome to the chat, my love. Now here's the deal with Ray J. Ray J, once all that came down, and we saw the pictures of Ray J being taken away from the hotel, allegedly distraught. Great, sweetheart. I'm glad you're doing wonderful. Good to see you. Good to see you. But Ray J wants us to believe that he didn't have anything to do with this. But I recall, and I wish I could find those pictures, but I recall seeing a picture of Ray J's hands. Did y'all see this? There was a picture of Ray J's hands, how they were all beat up and scraped up and like he had been in some kind of a fight. Okay? What is up with that? I truly don't believe Whitney drowned in a bathtub that was shorter than her. And they want to put it on the fact that she had, you know what, in her system, illegal substances in her system, and then saying that heart disease and addiction or whatever was a contributing factor. But she had sustained injuries to her. Her nose was broken. I mean, how do you break your nose if you're passed out? Maybe I'm stupid. I don't understand. But there's just too many things that don't add up. Ray J claims that he was in San Diego when this happened. He sure enough got there quick, didn't he? I'll continue.
She didn't even say your name. She just used a term that Brandy's little brother bringing me drugs and doing drugs with me. Brandy's little brother trying to kiss me and do drugs with me. Next thing you know, she's dead. You brag about all these phone calls recorded. You brag about how Snoop tell you and told you he's a part of the people who put bread to kill Pac. That's why I say don't mention Tupac's name in none of your interviews, because you fuck with the motherfucker Snoop who said he had something to do with it. So Snoop was involved in killing hip-hop best all-time artist. You was involved in killing the best female vocalist that ever did it, Whitney Houston. So to get your ratings to go up for Love and Hip Hop, wherever the fuck that is, or wherever you guys got to do to be relevant, talk about that. That alone speaking volumes. And I wish for all y'all's success. I have nothing negative or bad to say about nobody I know. But I will tell the truth. I want the world to understand that everybody who's using these platforms, podcasts, it's a lot of great ones. But we don't have to put nobody down to be somebody. So I'm saying this one time and one time only. I wish all the people in society do well. It's rough out there in the streets. You got some motherfuckers with guns and no bullets. Some people with bullets and no gun. It's bad. But once again, I pray for the best. I do prepare for the worst. I want all success to the people we all know, that we all look like each other. Tell your story. It's up to me to tell mine. So the people I got love for, God bless you. Once again, you can get rich with the devil's money, but you only can be happy with God's money. I'm Suge Knight. I'm out.
So, with that said, now that comes from Suge Knight, from an interview.
I mean, that's
on
what
the Art of Dialogue. Okay. This thing decided to jump ahead of me. That's okay. But it's quite telling, because I too heard the reports from others that Whitney didn't fool with bathtubs. She only took showers. They said that the water was extremely, extremely hot. It just doesn't add up. It was reported that the room was in shambles, as though a fight had taken place. So it leads me to believe that she passed away under suspicious conditions. And the fact that her daughter went out not too long after that, a year or two later, the same way. And then the little boyfriend, he's no longer with us too. It's a classic cover-up. It's a classic cover-up. That woman's nose was broken. How'd she break it? Underwater. Very sad. It doesn't make any sense. But again, here's where I also have a problem. Here's where I also have another problem. How long ago did this happen? How long ago did we lose Whitney? We lost Whitney back in 2012. We in 2025. And suddenly he wants to come clean and clarify things. Everybody looks at me as being the one involved. Why are you just now speaking out to this level? Why? Are we clout chasing? Are we clout chasing? Are we trying to stay relevant? Because that's what seems to be happening as a result of this interview. That seems to be what's happening as a result of this particular live stream. Because now questions are out there. Ray J is all over the place. He can't have a consistent conversation without being all over the place. And quite frankly, my own humble opinion, I think it done drove him crazy. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But ever since Whitney, it seems as though he's deteriorated. He's taken a dive and he's trying to stay relevant all the time. And he's going in all kind of directions, trying to stay somewhere to where people will still recognize. So, is this a last ditch effort to stay relevant? Or is it his mind is making him lose it to the point where he can't even hold on to the guilt anymore? Those are the questions that I have. Now, in this interview with Cam Newton, he made a statement that I actually looked it up. He said that Whitney's bodyguard found her, and his name happened to be Ray, and that CNN reported that Ray J was the one that found her. That was not true. I looked at the report from CNN. They didn't say Ray J found Whitney, because if that were the case, that would have meant that he was there. Now, he claims to have been in San Diego. He claims to have been in San Diego when it happened. So I looked it up and I tried to find out where exactly did Ray J live at that time. I wasn't able to find anything that said he lived in San Diego. Now, what I did find is a statement that he made saying that he was performing in San Diego that night. But I also found, let me see if I can pull that up. Where is that? Hold on just a second. It says, while there is no information to suggest Ray J lived in San Diego in 2012, he was there to perform a show on the night Whitney Houston died in February 2012. Ray J explained that he was in San Diego when Houston passed away in Los Angeles. He stated that they had plans to publicly announce their relationship the next day at a Clive Davis event. And we know that Clive Davis was throwing a little shindig the night before the Grammy Awards. Okay. Exactly, really dope. They've got footage of him coming out of the hotel. But it is also stated that he went upstairs. They wouldn't let him in to the room. Exactly what it, wait, it is what it is. Welcome, sweetheart. Where is the video of the hallway? You know that hotel has major surveillance, especially in a night like that. You can't just walk down the hall. That is bingo right there. But I found something that stated that Ray J was at home when he got the news. Let me find that for you. Here we go. Let me share this with you. That's not it. Inside the turmoil. Let me make sure I'm pulling the right one up. Okay, this is. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. Let me make sure. Okay, here we go. This is according to ABC News. And see, the date is February 12th, 2012. This isn't a recent article. This is not a recent article. This was written on February 12th at 8:32 a.m. Says musician Ray J was reportedly turned away from Whitney Houston's hotel room when he rushed to the Beverly Hilton Hotel after learning of her death. Ray J was at home. Let's highlight that part. Ray J was at home when he found out Houston had been found dead in her hotel bathtub. Ray J was at home when he found out Houston had been found dead in her hotel bathroom, and he immediately went to the hotel to try to see her, TMZ reports. He was reportedly turned away by law enforcement and not allowed in the room. Sources told TMZ that Ray J was crushed by Houston's death. Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina, and cousin Dionne Warwick were also both reportedly turned away from the hotel room when they tried to get in to see Houston. Questions about Houston's relationship with Ray J, Kim Kardashian's ex-boyfriend and ex-tape partner, we all know about that fiasco, resurfaced this week after the two were spotted having dinner in Los Angeles. The two were seen leaving Los Angeles restaurant Le Petit Four on February 3rd. The two were linked as early as 2010, following Houston's 2007 divorce from Bobby Brown. Ray J is notorious for his relationship with Kardashian, which led to his own reality TV romance show For the Love of Ray J. He is also the brother of singer Brandy, who played Cinderella to Houston's fairy godmother in the television remake of the classic fairy tale. Ian Drew, senior editor at US Weekly, told ABCNews.com that Ray J and Houston dated on and off for several years. He was her big eyebrow-raising relationship after Bobby Brown, Drew said. Ray J, 31, appeared on The Insider on Friday to promote his new advice book, Death of the Cheating Man. In the interview, he was repeatedly pressed for information on his relationship with Houston. You know, they blow this thing out of proportion. I mean, that's my friend. I've been knowing her for years and years and years, and she's a friend of the family, he said on the show. I have a lot of love for her, and I have a lot of respect for her. Ray J remained coy when pressed on whether his relationship with Houston, 48, was more than platonic. Our friendship is something that people might not understand, maybe because of the age difference, but we've always just been friends, Ray J said. We hug, we laugh, we go out to dinner, we talk about, different things in our lives, and she's a cool person. When asked directly if his relationship with Houston was physical, he again deflected. We've always kept our relationship as private as we could, but when we go out, she's such an icon it reaches the masses, Ray J said. But for the most part, we've always been friends, and we've kept everything hush hush, and just quiet, and we really don't focus on that. Ray J's agents did not immediately respond to ABC News' request for comment. Ray J has not yet commented on Houston's death, and his Twitter account has been silent since Saturday morning. Now, this is the article back then. This is how he handled it then. His last tweet was a happy birthday message for his sister Brandy, and the tweet before that included 3 photos and the message, "I'm with Clive Davis, helping with the party tomorrow night." But he was in San Diego, though. Hello, Kathy Mitchell. In one photo, Ray J and Davis were sitting side by side in a ballroom, presumably at the Beverly Hilton, where the party took place and where Houston died. The two were facing the stage and surrounded by stacks of chairs and tables that had yet to be set. The second photo is of musicians rehearsing on stage, and the third is of Ray J and Davis smiling and posing with a woman. Houston had seen Ray J as recently as Thursday night when both attended Grammy nominee Kelly Price's party. I think we all remember that. Excuse me. Kelly Price and Friends Unplugged for the Love of R&B Grammy party at the Los Angeles nightclub True Hollywood. Houston was there with her 19-year-old daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, and performed a duet with Price in the early hours of Friday morning in what would become her last performance. At the party, Houston reportedly clashed with singer and former X Factor finalist Stacey Francis, who had credited Houston as her inspiration and had been pulled on stage to sing with her in 1999 during a concert, according to The Hollywood Reporter. And that's all of that. But it's just ironic. It's just ironic that he claims to have been in San Diego at the time that this report of her demise came out and he rushed to the hotel. But according to this, what I just read says he was helping Clive set up. So what's it going to be? Were you there? Were you not? I don't know. Barbara Weaver says, Whitney fought for her life. That was a water sacrifice, and Clive still had his party with her body upstairs. Absolutely. How disrespectful. How disrespectful. They was partying downstairs like nothing had even happened. He knew what had happened up there. I don't know. It just smells like a rat to me. It smells very, very, very stank. I'm gonna hold on just a second. Let me pull up this next interview. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Y'all hold on just a second. I gotta get the right. Okay, y'all, I found the second audio that I wanted to play for you for from this Cam Newton interview where he admits to being diagnosed as ADHD. Hold on just a second. Let me pull that back. Uh-oh.
I mean, like, that's what I am. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, right now, I didn't know this was going to, I don't know how we got here.
No, me neither.
Because there's so much to do or to say, but again, when you're talking to me, I might go all the way over here, and because I literally got an issue, like a mental ADD. I got a ADD, and it's like a couple other letters. I don't know what the fuck they be saying it is, but
ADHD.
That is something else too, and it's like, and it makes me like think a lot, but I sometimes will start losing it, and then I get frustrated and I start like tripping.
Can I make an admittance? I really enjoy talking to people. And when I'm talking to people, I don't necessarily always talk with the speaking being for me to respond. I'm really talking to better understand.
I can feel that.
Yeah, so if I'm asking...
I understand your curiosity, and that's why you got to hit show.
Bro,
because it's organic, because you really are trying to understand things.
For sure.
I know that, and that's why I wanted to come fuck with you, because I'm like, I need to get to this show, because this is another... When you go past your show, it's a milestone for everybody. So that's why some people come in here nervous. Because it's like, it's a moment, and everybody's going to see it. Like, I wish I got nervous again, bro. Like, I'm trying to understand, why don't I feel the butterflies and shit, bro? That shit weird. I did the whole Millennium Tour. I didn't feel anything. We got on stage. It was the same as me getting on the tour bus. I had no, like, I just absolutely just did. They would literally like come get me. I would just throw on my clothes and be putting on my jeans while we walk on stage, and right when I go, I'm like, boom, on stage, just having fun.
Okay.
I never felt nervous.
Okay.
I mean, like, that's what I
am. Fonda said he got CRS. Can't remember. Oh my goodness. That's not funny, but it's funny. It's funny to me. But yeah. He's got some issues that are eating away at him. Truthfully, I believe he's definitely he's decaying from the inside out. He's definitely broken. He's depressed. He's confused, and he's at war with his own self. He's at war with his own self. Benjamin says, I believe Clive is semi-senile, and if he was paying him for his silence from time to time, well, whomever is in charge of Clive now probably told Ray J to kick rocks. The guy is broke. That's something to consider. That's most definitely something to consider. But the fact still remains is that Ray J is all over the place. One person wrote in the comments of this interview, Ray J is on his Orlando Brown-ish. Benjamin, you're right. If one has ADHD, drugs are the worst thing to do. As you age, it only gets worse. And definitely, he's not getting no younger. He's not getting no better. It was funny in this interview. It wasn't funny, but it was just something that piqued my attention, and I had to look it up. And I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this interview, if you don't mind. Yes, interpersonal conflicts. That's it. Okay, hold on just a second.
You use this platform because one of the things that I was going to hit on is, number one, you mentioned murder, right?
That's, if you look on all my comments,
yes,
every time I go live, anything, you kill Whitney.
Okay.
That happens in spam.
Now speak your truth on that.
Here's the truth. Just, it's not my truth. It's just certain times when narratives are going to the moon, that's not true. Everybody has you have to go and you have to shut certain things down.
Right.
The way they made that scene is so haunting to me. Here's why. I wasn't even there. I was nowhere around.
Where were you?
I was in San Diego doing a show.
Okay.
Okay. Didn't I just show y'all? He was at home, and it was not believed that he lived in San Diego. So where were you? Were you helping Clive set up for the gala? Were you in San Diego about to do a show? Or were you at home? I done heard 3 different stories as to where he was when he heard about Whitney. And it don't add up. It just doesn't add up. I don't understand. Plus, we all saw the pictures of his fist, his hands. It was zoomed in, and he had all these abrasions like on his knuckles. Oh, it was the Grammy. It was the pre-Grammy party, Crystal. It wasn't a show. It was the pre-Grammy party. The Grammy Awards was the next night, but Clive Davis every year puts on a pre-Grammy gala, so to speak, and Ray J was helping out with setting it up. So were you there? Were you not? Were you in San Diego? Were you at home? I'm not understanding how you can be in 3 places at one time. But we do know for a fact that he ended up back at that hotel. If he left at all, he was there. And they wouldn't allow him up in the room. They wouldn't allow him up in the room. They wouldn't allow his daughter, her daughter up in the room. They wouldn't allow Dionne Warwick up there to see her. But Ray J was at the hotel at some point in time that night. Whether it was before or after, we don't really know, because he's given different things. Millionaire's Cove says if he didn't do it, he knows who did. And I recall hearing some kind of an interview or something with Ray J where he was literally ridden with some kind of guilt. And it was assumed that, he was dealing with that guilt. That's just allegedly. Barbara says his Grammy party, he lying because Bobby Brown's family members were there and they all saw him there. Exactly. The article stated that he was helping Clive set it up for the gala. How were you at home when you learned of her death? If you were there at the hotel helping him set up. That room was torn apart. Whitney had a broken nose. She fought for her life. We know how feisty Whitney was. That's a good question, Benjamin. Noise was reported from other guests. What happened to those complaints? That's a good question. It is what it is, says they had said her dealer had dropped off her meds. They have been mute about questioning him or even who he was. But they say that it was Ray J. Allegedly. Ray J claims to not have ever been indulged with illegal substances until after Whitney passed away. But I'm going to play the rest of this and you tell me if he's lying or not. Hold on.
The Clive Davis event was the next day. We were going to go there together. And we were going to fucking really make the announcement that, like, you know what I'm saying?
So y'all had a real relationship.
1000%, bro.
The real emotions.
Bro, that was my people, bro.
So
That's how the like. I barely speak on Whitney. She's Whitney Houston.
yes,
That's Whitney Houston, but she's Whitney to me, right?
Okay, so what I just read to you from a previous article, a statement from him, veered away from them being in a relationship like that. So what was it? And now in 2025, now he's saying that they were going to come out and announce their relationship that night. I don't believe in the Rose. I don't. I'm having a hard time coming to grips with this dude telling the truth about anything. But he has definitely went on a serious decline, a mental decline since the demise of Whitney Houston. And then you got to wonder why he and Brandy don't even get along no more. Makes you wonder. Why would Brandy stop dealing with her brother, her little brother? Other than the fact that he's full of shenanigans. But they were a tight family. Let's see. It Is What It Is says there's a white guy who did an interview years ago who said he was her dealer, supposedly a major player, but he may have been meant to throw people off. Exactly. So why didn't he go to jail? I mean, something. No. I'm with you on that one. That was a decoy. I believe that was a decoy. Brandy loved Whitney. You're right, Rose. She loved Whitney Houston. Something ain't right. Here, I'll finish playing this.
And it's to me, it's just so distasteful for somebody to tell somebody something that the other person can't respond to.
right.
To me, it's unfair. So I've always just never said nothing. But now that this shit's going everywhere, like, bro, it's just fucking hurtful, bro. Like, when I got back to the hotel, they did not let me up at first until everything was cleared and it was just the family. That's when I was able to go upstairs and see the family. This is you talking like late at night. When I pull up, I got my shoes. I'm ready to go to the event. I just talked to her on the phone. She's not there no more. It's over. Like, and Ray.
Wait a minute. Did he not say when I got back to the hotel? Did y'all hear that? He said when I got back to the hotel. So that proves that he was there earlier and confirms the report that he was helping Clive set up. So, are you trying to tell us now that you went home? I mean, it doesn't make sense, please. You went all the way to wait a minute, hold it. So where'd you go when you left the hotel while you was helping Clive set up? Because he just admitted he went back to the hotel. Those were his exact words. Sometimes you let a person talk long enough, they'll tell on themselves. Okay. He went back to the hotel and they would not allow him upstairs. Okay. So at some point in time, he left that hotel that evening before she was gone or reported gone or dead, and went where? San Diego? He said he went back to get his clothes. Okay, but I thought you said you were performing in San Diego when it happened. But then another report says that you were at home. There's too many stories of his location as to where he was when Whitney died. Too many, three things don't click. It's gonna be either one, two, or three. Which was it? He went from and came back. He came back to the hotel, which indicates that he had been there previously in order to leave and come back. Yet he says he was performing in San Diego. Another report says he was at home. Now, I don't know if he lived in San Diego, according to the reports or the ads and stuff that are reporting on this. Nobody could specifically say he lived in San Diego. Absolutely, Barbara. Whitney was Clive's cash cow. But see, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that even Clive could not fix. So I'm gonna play the rest of this. Y'all listen to this, because sometimes people tell on themselves and they don't even know it.
Who was her bodyguard? He found her, and he called me.
He said her bodyguard found her. Okay, well, let's see. According to, let's see, where is that? I found an article that stated that her assistant, Mary Jones, was the one that found her. So, how did her bodyguard find her? There was an actual interview with her assistant that I was able to track down, and for the sake of time, let's see. Let me see. Bear with me. Where's it at? Where's it at? I don't want to have to read through the whole thing. Houston's bodyguard found her body, said Courtney Barnes. Oh, so that's where he gets that story. According to Ray J, he says that Houston's bodyguard found her. But I found, and I've always known it to, it was always my understanding that her assistant found her, Mary Jones. She had gone out shopping or something. She went out to get some things and came back and found her. So I'm trying to understand how the bodyguard suddenly became her her assistant. Let's see if I can find that name. Okay. I must have deleted it. Oh. Whitney's assistant, Mary Jones, later told investigators she suggested the singer take a bath while she ran an errand at Neiman Marcus and left the room at around 3 p.m. She returned at 3:35 p.m. and found the 48-year-old singer face down in the tub, submerged in a foot of water. Seconds later, Whitney's longtime bodyguard, Ray Watson, one of Pat Houston's brothers, who had been standing watch outside in the hall, ran in too. So he did not discover her Mary Jones, her assistant, is the one that found her. So again, we can't keep our lies straight. They can't keep their lies straight. Hi, Jess. Have fun. It just this doesn't make sense to me, but nevertheless, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this because there's too many holes in this young man's uh, story. Hold on.
CNN says Ray J found her. And then 10 minutes later, like, oh no, Ray her bodyguard. That shit's 10 minutes later, bro. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
But so, there's a innocence with jumping to conclusion, and you can kind of see why. Obviously, there's similarities in names, but that was not you.
I was nowhere to be found. Right. And I hate talking about it because I got so much love for her. I've never seen her in that state. Yeah. They never. So to make me that person when I wasn't even there, and then to put murderer on top of that, but I just solely just got away with it. Mm-hmm.
But I think something that you shared with me that I think is important, right? Especially with this to give perspective. Did you guys do drugs?
I've never done one drug with Whitney. And then when niggas ask me, did Whitney do drugs? I mean, you don't gotta, there's certain things you can ask me and I'll tell you about me. But you don't gotta ask the other question because you already fucking know, like, it's Whitney. Everybody knows certain answers. I could tell you about me. Like, I was so fucked up after that shit happened. I tried hard drugs for the first time after this shit happened because I was just like, I didn't know what was going on, bro. I was totally like in awe of it.
Did you ever witness her doing drugs?
Whitney?
Yes.
I don't want to talk about that because then it's like, I can never put it like this.
Okay. Did we see the deflection? Did y'all catch the deflection? When Cam Newton asked him, have you ever seen Whitney do those, rugs? He says, I don't want to talk about that. Why not? She's gone. She can't pay no price, but you don't want to implicate yourself into anything, huh? He's saying he didn't try any hard narcotics or anything of that nature until after she passed. But when he was asked the question, have you ever witnessed Whitney? Have you ever witnessed Whitney taking substances? He said, I don't want to talk about that. I thought that was rather interesting. I thought that was real telltale right there. Because your story, boo-boo, is unraveling. Exactly, Fonda. Yup, sure did. Don't want to say it, but yup. And quiet as it's kept, it has been alleged that he did too. Benjamin says, folks, get this. Clive charged her estate by making Pat sign over half the estate. Pat was only too happy to oblige because it was like found money to her. The entire thing is effed up. Satan's world. Wow. You know what? More to life. I wish they would have. Hey, Angelina. How are you, sweetheart? Yeah, this Barbara, I saw Shaka Khan tell the story. She didn't pull no punches, did she? But I really don't think that they investigated this case as much as they could have. And this is one of them cases where Clive Davis, allegedly, could be looked at suspiciously. Very much so. Very, very much so. She sure did. She told it all. Didn't bite her tongue. Hold on.
I'm way younger, bro. Mm-hmm. She's in control, bro. She's Whitney. She's a boss. And so to make me the big dog, I'm not the big dog, bro. I'm the little nigga, bro. I'm the little homie.
But can I preface this too, though? And I don't want to be disrespectful to nobody here. I'm literally trying to see what you're comfortable with talking about.
I told you I'm good, bro.
To give perspective and just understand.
I'm down to talk about anything.
All right. Well, how did you guys even meet? Like, take us through the good time, right? Like,
it was nothing but good times.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
So how did the Whitney and Ray J thing become a thing?
Because it just because we just started bonding, bro, like in Miami. But Whitney was Brandy's idol. That's all Brandy listened to. She fucking worshiped Whitney. She loved her and she emulated everything around her. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I like Whitney too. Then I felt the same way, just different. Then when I seen her, I went there. And that's how it happened. And then we was locked in for a long time, bro.
Now, don't that make it sound like he just met her at that point? But in previous reports, it was stated that she was a longtime friend of the family. So this in itself don't even jive with what has been reported in the past. He said when he seen her, he went there. His sister worshipped her. His sister worshipped her. And when he seen her, he went for her. But what happened to the longtime friend of the family situation? He can't keep up with his lies. Either she was a friend of the family and y'all hooked up later on down the road, or what. But this here did not coincide. Yes, it is, Vonda. Vonda. His mind, Millionaire's Code, has forgotten so much. He cannot keep up. Vonda said, CRS can't remember shit. I'm done with you. But it's true. We talking about from 2012 to now. 2012 to now. And some details, some very critical details have shifted in such a way that don't make sense. How can you be in 3 places at once? Number 1. Number 2, y'all been messing around for years. And he asked the question, Cam Newton asked him the question, how did y'all hook up? Oh, well, she was a, you know, my sister, Brandy, she idolized Whitney. And then when I seen her, I went for it. I didn't hear my sister idolized her and they became good friends and we all met her and, you know, she was a good friend of the family and eventually we ended up seeing each other on a different note. None of that was said. None of that was said. It was A, B, and I went for her. Absolutely. Sometimes God will allow you to tell on yourself. He will expose you and the truth. And I think this is indicative of what has been happening today. Because if you think back to Suge Knight's interview with Art of Dialogue, yeah, they did sweep Whitney's death off like she was a nobody, like she was some rug addict. They didn't want the real truth to come out, whatever that might have been. But think back to what Suge Knight said in his interview with Art of Dialogue. He called him out straight up. You said Tupac was at your 21st birthday celebration. You were born in 1981. Nah. Ain't that something? To be called out on your lies. You lie about something like that, don't you think he gonna lie about Whitney? You telling folks that Tupac came to your 21st birthday and Tupac died in 1996. You were born in 1981. It's crazy. He didn't add it up. He didn't even figure that he should, at least make sure. If nothing else, he could have said he came to an earlier birthday party and gotten away with that lie. But 21st birthday, Tupac had been dead. That's crazy. But they sweep stuff up under the rug and they think that people are not paying attention. But we are. Let me finish this last piece.
And so,
Did the public know about?
They knew about it for sure. They saw us everywhere. But we was gonna make it official the night she passed, bro. So, we didn't get a chance to, and I was on my way back and just never saw her again, bro.
Don't you think that that's very convenient? We were going to announce it to the world that we were a couple that night. It took him all these years to say that. It took him all these years to say, yeah, we were going to come clean to the public the night she died, but it never happened. Fonda says people don't listen to what they say. They just talk, talk, talk. It's crazy, the things that come out of this man's mouth. And part of it, I think, is lies. Part of it, I think he's just delusional, delulu, from all these alleged illegal substances he has taken over the years with his ADHD problem. Right, Rose, but he wasn't there. He wasn't there. But they were about to announce. How convenient. How convenient. We were going to announce to the world that we were an item, but it didn't happen because she died. It took you to say that in 2025. This woman died in February of 2011. He can't keep up. He cannot keep up with what he says. And I hope to God they do open up her case and play back all these interviews and all these different reports and put two and two together. Because I will never forget that picture of his hands. Someone zoomed in on his hands and they were messed up. So why wasn't he there protecting her? Don't make sense. You're right, Benjamin. They were supposed to be a couple. They were supposed to be a couple. You were supposed to be announcing that night. How ironic. It never happened because she died. But now, fast forward to 2025, you want to come out and say that. No, no. You could have said that 2 weeks. You could have said that at the funeral. I know y'all seen the funeral. He was at that funeral trying to reach out and touch the casket as it's going by. That was guilt. That was guilt. Yeah. And you heard what Suge Knight said, what Whitney said when she was referring to him. She didn't even call him by name. Brandy's little brother keep on kissing on me, trying to give me drugs. Suge said that. So was you together or were you not together? Absolutely, Fonda. It gets him attention. That's why I asked in the very beginning of this live, is this guilt or is this trying to keep relevance? Was it, I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Here's the last bit of this interview.
And then like now you wake up to like I did that. All right, my nigga, just let it go until it just keep going. Then you watching the Diddy trial, and then the lady's like, "Yo, so you had a drug dealer." Now I'm just watching like everybody else, reading the manuscript. Ray J was your drug dealer, huh? Was Ray J your drug dealer? Just pick my name out the fucking raffle.
Oh, so he's concerned that he might get attached to Diddy in the same way that he was allegedly attached to Whitney. Is that why he did this interview? To clear his name about Diddy? Because it seems to me that the same accusations that he has sustained for Whitney, he is now reliving this during the Diddy trial. It was asked in the Diddy trial to a witness, Ray J is your blank dealer. So it's starting to make some sense. It's starting to make sense. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Here we go.
With no substance or nothing to it, just threw it out there. The girl on the stand, I don't even know her name. She was confused. Everybody was confused. When that court let out, is when all this shit with Whitney came back. Now Ray J's a drug dealer. I tried to go to a couple of award shows, respectful award shows, bro. They didn't even let me in, bro. And the security didn't want to tell me. So they was like telling my people, and they didn't want to look me in the eye as if I was going to do something or tweak out.
So now, because of all that, he's trying to attend award shows and stuff like that, and they're not letting him in as a result of what was said in court. So this screams, I'm trying to stay relevant. And this stuff keeps coming out about me, and I'm being shunned. Yeah, a lot of Millionaires Cove, you took the words right out of my mouth. A lot of celebrities is attached to Diddy's mess. I know he was at some of them parties. We seen pictures. A lost clown by choice. Perfect analogy, namaste. Perfect analogy. But it seems to me now that he's in a predicament to where he's trying to stay relevant in the industry and he's starting to be shunned because they're turning him away from events that he's trying to attend. What's the next step? Another reality show? I'm curious how he's going to get past this one. But there had to be a reason for him to take this particular interview with Cam Newton. Had to be. It ain't just because I want to clear my name about Whitney. You had years to do that. But Diddy came up. Now you got to clear your name about Diddy and Whitney. That's right. Better be careful. And now he got caught up in something he can't get out of. But see, his guilt has had him talking. He had said in a statement at several months back about some kind of he felt guilty about something. He just wouldn't say what it was. Exactly, Barbara. At the time of her demise, she had been clean from this, you know what. He might just be getting blackmailed. Or he might be blackmailing somebody else. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Somebody don't want the truth out. And I'm sure if he knows something or was involved with something, he did it for someone else. Either way it goes, guilty is guilty. Hi, Q Rob. Guilty is guilty, whether he did it on behalf of someone else or he did it for himself. I don't see him doing that for himself, but I could see someone putting him up to do that. Because I can't get out of my mind the conditions of his hands. I can't get out of my mind the fact that she had a broken nose, bruises and abrasions. You don't get that just because you fell in the tub, in the water. And the water was scalding hot. According to reports, the water was scalding hot. She was submerged in it. They're trying to say that she allegedly got some kind of a reaction to whatever was in her system, and her heart condition was part of the problem. It just, the math ain't mathing. It really isn't. Okay. It's just the last couple minutes.
Crash out.
On everybody. And I'm like, is that who I am? Wow.
Yeah, that was it. So again, I'm just saying, there's something very odd about this whole interview to me. It's something very odd about this interview. The way that they glanced over everything when it came down to Whitney is very odd to me. There is another article that, let's see, E-News. Let me share this with you. Okay. Inside the turmoil of Whitney Houston's shocking death. Whitney Houston drowned in her bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel on February 11, 2012, the day before the Grammys, turning that weekend's festivities into an impromptu memorial. When Golden Globes host Jared Carmichael referred to the Beverly Hilton as the hotel that killed Whitney Houston, Attendees were still rustling around to get to their seats. Many in the room may have missed it in the moment, even though it resonated loud and clear on TV. So the fallout occurred outside the venue. The Whitney Houston estate is disappointed in the joke, a rep from the late singer's sister-in-law, Pat Houston, told TMZ after the show, and felt it was in poor taste. Because even approaching 11 years since Whitney's sudden death on February 11, 2012, it's still too soon for fans and protectors of the revered artist's legacy to consider what happened that day anything other than heartbreaking. On the final day of her life, Whitney seemed to be looking forward to Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammy Gala that was to be held that night at the Beverly Hilton, where she was also staying in room 434 under her grandmother's name, Elizabeth Collins. Now, that's one thing I didn't know, that she had checked into the hotel in her grandmother's name. So that's interesting. We talked about looks and what she was going to wear and what we would do with that evening. Her longtime hairstylist, Tiffany Dixon, told NBC News a month later. She seemed very happy that day. Whitney's assistant, Mary Jones, later told investigators she suggested the singer take a bath while she ran an errand at Neiman Marcus and left the room at around 3 p.m. She returned at 3:35 p.m. and found the 48-year-old singer face down in the tub, submerged in a foot of water. Seconds later, Whitney's longtime bodyguard, Ray Watson, one of Pat Houston's brothers, who had been standing watch outside in the hall, ran in too. Okay, let's stop right there. So Ray Watson was in the hall when all this went down. Has anybody talked to him? Find out where all these, how her nose got broke. I mean, wouldn't he have heard that? If she fell, the woman, according to her autopsy, she was messed up. She had been in a fight. Her room was in disarray, and he's standing guard outside the room. Are you kidding me? It was on video, him outside door in the hall. So did he hear what was going on in there? That's interesting. But see, video tells one story. All that video tells is what they see. How do we know he didn't know what was going on in there? That's true, LaWanda. HW would not have heard it if he was told to go somewhere else to distract him. He definitely needs to go through some further questioning, for real. I got her out of the water and tried to revive her, Watson recalled to London's Mirror. Then it was all crazy. It was the worst thing that has ever happened in my life. I will never forget it. Never. A 911 call was made by hotel security at 3:43 p.m., according to Beverly Hills Police, and the paramedics who responded minutes later were already in the building in light of all the activity taking place at the hotel that weekend. Wow. Hairstylist Dixon said she was headed to Houston's room to help her get ready when she heard something. She didn't know what exactly yet had happened. Everything just kind of happened so fast, she told NBC News. I was due to report to work. I was going in the direction where I needed to go, and I was instructed to call for help, and that's what I did. Dixon described consoling and being consoled by Whitney's then 18-year-old daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, in the hallway. The teen didn't know what was going on, the stylist explained, sharing that she'd glimpsed Whitney lying there and then moved to keep Bobby Christina out of the bathroom. In one of the most tragic twists imaginable, Bobby Christina was found underwater and unconscious in the tub at her Atlanta area home on January 31st, 2015. She spent the next 6 months in a coma before she died at the age of 22 on July 26th. Wow. They both gone. Mm, mm, mm. Word spread like wildfire among Whitney's small entourage, including manager and sister-in-law Pat and Whitney's brother Gary. After attempts to resuscitate her failed, Houston was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. Beverly Hills Police Lieutenant Mark Rosen told reporters later that night, also noting that there seemed to be no obvious signs of criminal intent at the scene. At the time, Whitney's body was still in the hotel. The next day, BHPD put a security hold on any autopsy findings until their investigation was complete. A not uncommon move, especially in high-profile cases, according to then Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter. The autopsy report from the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, released 2 months later, stated that Whitney had probably, here's the words, if you a coroner, there ain't no probably. If you are a coroner, there ain't no allegedly or probably or might have. It's a yes or no. The autopsy report from the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, released 2 months later, stated that Whitney had probably been dead for about an hour before she was found. But that doesn't coincide with Mary Jones's testimony. It doesn't coincide. Mary Jones said that she left the room at 3 o'clock to go to Neiman Marcus. So how was she found at 3:35 and Mary left the room at 3 o'clock? That ain't no hour and a half or about an hour. That's crazy business right there. Whitney's mother, Sissy Houston, recalled the phone ringing that night at her home in New Jersey. When I picked it up, all I could hear was screaming. She wrote in her 2013 book, Remembering Whitney, "Oh, Mommy, it's Nippy, it's Nippy." It was my son Gary on the line, and he was hysterical. When the Grammy-winning gospel singer asked what was wrong, he replied, "They found her. They found her upstairs, and I'm not going back up there." Sissy couldn't get a clearer explanation from her son, she recalled, and finally she asked if her daughter was dead. "I was told later that I screamed so loudly that the whole building must have heard me," Sissy wrote. "But my mind was absolutely blank except for one thought: my baby was gone." Jesus. Back at the Beverly Hilton, investigators were combing Whitney's suite, trying to get a handle on what exactly had happened. At the same time, an A-list crowd was trickling into the hotel for Davis's party, unaware of what was transpiring upstairs. The final coroner's report released in April 2012 stated that a spoon with a white crystal-like substance in it was found in the room, as was a plethora of prescription medication bottles, along with an open bottle of champagne, food, and other personal items. A small mirror found in a drawer had a white powdery substance on it, the report also noted. The autopsy determined Houston's official cause of death to be accidental drowning with eso I'm gonna mess up that word. Atherosclerotic heart disease and coke use, just probably immediately prior to drowning, listed as contributing factors. Toxicology tests turned up traces of Benadryl, Xanax, Mary Jane, and Flexeril, a muscle relaxant, in her system. Wait a minute. She had all of that in her system as well? Benadryl, Xanax, weed, and Flexeril on top of that's a bit much. No. I truly don't believe that she would be able to put that in her body herself. I'm just finding that hard to believe. But interesting enough, it says toxicology tests turned up traces of Benadryl, Xanax, weed, and Flexeril, a muscle relaxant, in her system, but none were considered factors in her death, per the report. If she had all that stuff in her body, and then you add that other stuff in there, wouldn't that be the cause of? I mean, this is not right. Something's not right about this whole thing. Assistant Chief Coroner Winter had told LA's ABC 7 that Houston's prescriptions were pretty normal and quipped that he had more prescriptions than were found in her room. The post-mortem also detected mild emphysema. She had been rumored to be suffering from a lung ailment, a pulmonary edema, and benign tumors in her uterus, the report stated. Whitney's body remained at the Beverly Hilton until 1:35 a.m. on Sunday, February 12th. Winter later telling Vanity Fair the family maybe wanted to spend a few minutes with her before we loaded her off. Bobby Brown was on tour with New Edition when he got the news of his ex-wife's death. Just say a prayer for my daughter. Say a prayer for her mother. And if you find the time, please say a prayer for me, because I am going to need it, he said on stage in Mississippi, and flew out to LA to be with his grief-stricken daughter, Bobby Christina, who was briefly hospitalized twice in 24 hours after Whitney died. Brown told Extra, obviously the death of her mother is affecting her. However, we will get through this tragedy as a family. Just 2 days prior, E! News crossed paths with Houston while interviewing Davis, Brandy, and Monica. I'm sure y'all seen this one. During a rehearsal ahead of the Music Moguls Gala. Brandy told E! that Whitney had advised her to sing from the heart, and she was happy to be reunited with her Cinderella co-star. That's my mentor. She's everything to me. She taught me so much about singing and just being myself, and I loved her so much. Davis, who signed Houston to his Arista Records when she was 19, shared that the How Will I Know singer was excited to attend his party. Davis, who signed Houston, oh, wait a minute, I got that. The sit down was wrapping up when Whitney walked up to Davis, my dad, she called him, for a hug and kisses, after which Bobby Christina followed suit, greeting her godfather. "Did you hear your name?" Davis asked Whitney. "I've been paying tribute." Later that night, on February 9th, Houston unexpectedly took the stage with Kelly Price, who was hosting a pre-Grammys event at True Nightclub. "I wasn't expecting her to sing. I wasn't going to ask her to do that," she told Ryan Seacrest for E! News on the Grammys red carpet February 12th. "I just simply acknowledged that she was in the building and told everyone about our relationship, our friendship. Now she's encouraged me down through the years. How she's encouraged me down through the years as far as my career goes. And she just walked up to this on the stage. We embraced each other and she said, 'Give me the mic.'" That was Whitney, all right. Houston started to sing "Yes, Jesus Loves Me," and Price joined her, telling Seacrest it was an honor to duet with her longtime friend. That surprise performance must have been heartening for anyone hoping to hear more from Whitney, whose last album was 2009's "I Look to You." At the time, she had already recently wrapped her first movie in 15 years, Sparkle, with Jordan Sparks, and recorded the single "Celebrate" for the film. But personal drama had for years been overshadowing the countless triumphs from her storied career, and her once almighty voice wasn't what it was when she brought the stadium down, belting out the national anthem at the 1991 Super Bowl, or when she fueled the sale of 45 million copies of the Bodyguard soundtrack. "Nobody makes me do anything I don't want to do," Houston told ABC News' Diane Sawyer in her infamous "Crack is Whack" interview in 2002, in which she acknowledged using coke and other drugs. "The biggest devil is me. I'm either my best friend or my worst enemy." But she also said, "I am not self-destructive. I'm a person who has a life and wants to live." Houston, who divorced Brown in 2007 after 15 years of marriage, had most recently been in outpatient rehab in 2011, her third known stint in treatment. But basically, everyone who was around her in what turned out to be her final days saw a woman in good spirits who looked happy to be doing what she loved. Price recalled Houston standing for 3 hours by the stage cheering for her and everyone else who performed at her February 9th party, telling Seacrest, "She came out, she hung out, we partied, we celebrated, we danced." Sometime on February 10th, 2012, Whitney called her mother, as Sissy recounted in her book. She hadn't seen her daughter since Christmas, but they'd talked a few times and Whitney had vowed to come visit after the Grammys, she wrote. Sissy shared that the last thing Whitney said to her was, "I'll be home soon, Mommy, I promise." Barely 24 hours later, Whitney was gone. Davis's party went on that Saturday night, a celebration that turned into a memorial concert as artists, including Alicia Keys and Tony Bennett, paid tribute to the fallen star. By nighttime, a makeshift shrine of flowers, candles, cards, and mementos had piled up outside the hotel entrance. Wow. Oh, this is long. In a statement, Davis said he was personally devastated by the loss of somebody who meant so much to me. Whitney was so full of life. She was so looking forward to tonight. She loved music. She loved this night. Let's celebrate music. She graced this stage with her regal presence so many times. Calling her a beautiful person with a talent beyond compare, he noted, Whitney would have wanted the music to go on, and her family asked us to carry on. More than 40 million people watched the Grammys on February 12th, and, considering the precipitous 30% drop in the ratings the following year, a big portion of viewers tuned in to see how the ceremony dubbed music's biggest night handled the tragedy. Ooh, my goodness, that is a long article, y'all. I don't see Alicia performing much either. Let's see. They may have been devastated, but they were not disappointed, as host LL Cool J acknowledged the death in our family and led off with a prayer. Jennifer Hudson just managed to hold off the tears, singing "I Will Always Love You," as if she'd been rehearsing for days, not hours. Everyone bustling around backstage got quiet and crowded around the monitors to watch. And the many Houston admirers in the house let it be known what she meant to them. And, for the record, there was no in memoriam montage snafu that night. Houston's incomparable voice at its melismatic peak stealing the show. Mm, mm, mm. Wow. Well, I know you guys would agree with me that Whitney has been missed ever since she left. But there's just something going on. Thank you, Fonda. Thank you, sweetheart. There is something definitely wrong with Ray J. And we don't know if it is because of his relevance or lack thereof, or is it guilt, or is he just nuts? Let's put it in its perfect content. I hate to say it like that. Q Rock City said, she sang the best national anthem, her and Marvin Gaye. Yes, Lawanda, that's what I've understood it to be as well. He might be questioned. I heard this case is reopened. I hope they do. I hope they do. Because something has got to be. This was not just, oh, she OD'd. It can't be written off like that. Because a lot more went down than what they want us to believe. Seems like they just kind of scurried through it. The fact that they held that autopsy report for 2 months and justified it because she's a celebrity, that ain't no reason to not speak on it. Patience. Wait a minute. Patience interviewed with Oprah? You talking about Pat? I know a Patience, but are you talking about Whitney's Pat? You talking about Whitney's Pat? Put a 1 in the chat more if you're okay, Pat. Okay. Because you said Patience. That's another name. Replay the middle part, Auntie, later. Okay, I will. Well, y'all, you're right, Barbara. Bobby didn't like baths anymore because her mom died in one. And I can definitely understand why she would feel that way. I don't go near lakes. I don't go near rivers. I don't go near swimming pools. Because that's how I lost my son. So I totally understand why Bobby Christina felt that way. You know. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to shut this thing down. Yes, y'all, please get the likes up. Get the likes up before we end this live stream. I thought that this was a good topic to cover tonight because this might come up later on down the road. And I want you to at least be made aware of what's potentially coming down the pipe with good old Ray J. Because Just something ain't right about all this. The fact that it took this long for him to say what he said, and it just doesn't sound right at all. And just like Barbara said, she was beat up from head to toe, but no foul play. Make that make sense. That makes absolutely no sense. None. Not one piece. It's really sad that we've lost so many of our icons, and they're all gone. It ain't just because they were up in age. Not because they had an accident or any of this stuff. This is weird stuff. We lost Michael Jackson. We lost Prince. We lost Whitney Houston. The top three pop artists of their time gone. Boom, boom, boom. Under strange circumstances. Very strange circumstances. But I'm not going to go off into all that. Auntie, you walked the dog. Thank you, Fonda. Camille says, Auntie Mickey, what do you think about Bobby Brown's sister, Leola? I haven't heard anything about Leola. Is there something going on about Leola? I haven't heard anything about Leola Brown. But this interview just sparked my attention on another level that I don't usually pay attention to. It's more than an ocean. So, with all that said, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. She thinks it's Pat and husband and Ray bodyguard. Benjamin says, I don't have a good feeling on Ray J. We shouldn't be surprised with any further developments. I will leave it there. I agree. You never know. You just never know. Absolutely, Benjamin. Absolutely. Well, you guys, I've been sitting in this one spot long enough. We on almost 2.5 hours, and this bladder of mine is full. So I'm going to tell every one of you, thank you for coming tonight. Tomorrow night will be game night for those of you who want to come by and have some fun. I'm getting all my information together. We're still working on the Bible trivia. I'm looking forward to doing that, but I came across a game show the other night, and it was called Don't Forget the Lyrics. And I thought that would be a good online, game that we can pull off, just like the trivia. And this is going to be basically Auntie Mickey's Complete the Lyrics. I was talking about the way she was carrying on when Whitney first passed. I didn't see that, honey. I didn't see that part, Camille. So I couldn't speak on it if I wanted to. But we're going to have fun tomorrow night. Y'all might want to brush up on your words, your lyrics of some of the most popular songs that we've had coming up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, trying to make it all, spread out over a good period of time. But it'll be game night, Complete the Lyrics. So get ready, get ready, get ready. I thank y'all for coming tonight. Y'all, peace out.
Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. So fine. nothing